So you've been playing for a while, you love the blues, you know your pentatonic scale in and out, yet no matter what you play, it always kind of sounds the same old licks, and something is missing. Well, you know what? That something is not new licks. It's not new scales. It's actually already within you. It's very simple to do, and it kind of has to do with Back to the Future. I'll tell you all about it right after this. Hello, this is David from the Wallaman Guitar Artistry. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players around the world develop their musical personality. Today is another blues video. This week on the channel is Blues Week, and we are covering different topics of the blues, very simple concepts that you can take and apply in your own playing regardless of where you're at. Very simple ideas that will make a difference in your ability to express yourself on the guitar over the blues. The backing track that I used here is available for free, along with the charts. You can get those, it's very simple. Below there's a link that'll take you to a sign-up page. Once you signed up for free, you'll get access to the assets of this video and many other videos on the channel. You only need to sign up once. And because it's Blues Week, there is something very special that I will tell you about at the end of the video. Okay, what are we talking today? We're talking about recycling licks. We're talking about developing licks, and we're really talking about intervals. So what does that have to do with Back to the Future? Well, let me tell you a little story. Back to the Future, if you don't know those movies, you should. Those are some of my favorite movies, the trilogy Back to the Future. Something in Back to the Future makes that movie so appealing to the masses. And I had to think through that, and you know what it is? It's recognizing a character in different scenarios. While that character remains the same, yet because he's placed in different environments, that character will slightly be affected by the environment he's in. So Back to the Future, you have Marty, the character, the main character. He is in the present, which really is now the future, 1985. At the time of the movie came out, that is the present, and then he goes back to the past. And then in part 2, he goes to the future, but the same character affected by the elements. Am I nuts telling you about Back to the Future? No. Here's the thing. A note can be the main character. Okay? So here is Marty from Back to the Future. Here he is. Whatever you hear that's him. That's the main character. I promise there is a link with the blues, and we'll get to it in a second. But that character is just who he is. Now that character can be placed in multiple environments. What do I mean by that? Well, he can be in different contexts. This character can be played against a note. He can be played against this note. Okay, well that character will be affected by that note, right? It could also be placed in this context. All right, same character, right? But something else is happening there. He can also be placed in this context, over a chord this time. Or a different chord. Or a different one. Okay? So what I'm talking about is intervals, the distance between two notes. Some people have asked me, when I covered intervals before, why? Well, because of that. If you can understand what a character will do in a particular environment, then you can tell stories a lot more effectively. That's what we're going to talk about today. So we have a backing track here. This one right there. Typical blues, right? 3 chords. This is blues in G. We got a G7, then a C7. Okay, back to the G7. Here's our 3rd chord, D7, C7, and G7. Okay, now let's introduce a character. We'll introduce this one. That's our Marty. Right? Well, maybe a little uncomfortable, but hey, that's our character. Now this character, same character, right? Over this chord sounds a little different. And over the 3rd chord, different. Now, what I mean by different is the mood, the feel. Sometimes it sounds a little tense. Sometimes it sounds more stable. Sometimes maybe you'll associate that character in that environment with the term mysterious or open, or all these words have to do with feelings, with how that character within that situation will respond or become, or maybe some light will shine on him a little bit differently depending on what chord is being played in the back. So we can apply this principle that makes things so appealing in movies like Back to the Future or even music. It has to do with an essential truth of the human condition. We love to recognize things. That's what explains why you might be you keep humming that song that really you shouldn't like, but you keep singing it because you heard it so many times. We're going to harvest the power of that in our lesson today. So I'm going to come up with a simple lick, very, very simple lick. I actually used that in the intro, but this will work with anything. I'm going to use this lick right here. We are in G minor pentatonic. That's our first position. I'm actually going to transition into the second position. So instead of being in this slice of the fretboard, I will be in the next one up right here. Now you can find the charts if you're interested below, like I said, but this lick uses that slice of the fretboard. We're still in G minor pentatonic, same exact 5 notes, but just played in different zones of the fretboard. This is the lick. Kind of a Clapton type of thing. I'm on the first string, fret number 8. I'm going to do a bend so that the 8th fret sounds like the 10th. It's a full step bend. And then I'm going to stop. I don't want to hear the release of the bend. I don't want to hear this. No, I just want to hear the ascent. I'm going to block that note with my right hand so that nothing is heard. As I'm blocking this in the silent, I am releasing my note. And then I'm going to go to the 6th fret of the first string. Okay, so we got something like this. Stop, I don't want to hear any release, and then go to the 6th fret, and then 2nd string, 8th fret. That lick, just 3 notes, right? 3 pitches. It can be played in a lot of different ways, kind of like this, where the 2 last notes are a little bit closer to each other. Anticipation and release, or... But I like to play it like this. But there are a lot of ways to playing that lick, right? Over the backing track. Now here's what's interesting. We're going to consider that lick to be the character. Instead of a single note, well, we have different notes together. That's our character. Now that character can have multiple facets, but it's the same character. I could play it like this, or like this, or like this. It's the same character, right? Maybe one of them is the character after a hard day of work, or maybe this one is fresh waking up in the morning. It doesn't matter, right? But it's the same character. Now that character is going to shine a little bit differently depending on what is being played in the back. If I start over this first chord, sound like this. Now on the second chord, you see that last note? That's what you remember, and it sounds a little different depending on what's in the back. And the fun part is hearing that character in different contexts. That's over the first chord. Second chord. The first chord, third, and I started to create a story there with just the same exact lick, but different aspects of that lick. And that, if you can understand that and expand on it, your improvisations are going to speak way more than if you had, a lot of notes and a lot of licks. It's utilizing that beautiful truth that a note by itself is just a sound, but if you put that note in relation to something else, it becomes something else, and really extract from that all the musical juice you can. So that's what I have for you today to explore. Very simple licks, and try those licks in different contexts and expand on it. Now, really quick, that doesn't mean that you've got to clone the lick. That doesn't mean that you're going to play the same exact way of playing the lick. Sorry. That's one way of playing it. You're not just going to clone it. It's not as interesting as playing it differently. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. All right, I told you at the beginning of this video that there is something very special that happens this week, not only on the channel, on the Blues Week channel, but on the website. The link is below too. Here's what's going on. My friend Robert Redman, who is an excellent teacher, you probably know him from YouTube, TrueFire, or his own website, which you should definitely check out. Well, Robert is not only a great teacher, but also a great blues player, and he has tons of blues courses. I do too. We combined forces together to offer a huge bundle made of over 20 full-length blues courses, tons of backing tracks. You're gonna get enough blues tuition for years to come. It's an incredible deal, and we release this typically once a year. This is what's going on during Blues Week. I don't know when you're watching this video. Hopefully you're watching it during the launch. Check the link below. It'll take you to a page where you can grab all those courses for a single, very, very attractive price, extremely low. Typically, you would buy all these courses one by one. It'll cost you well over $900. Not with this bundle, not during Blues Week. Check it out. The link is below, and I will see you very soon for another video. Thanks so much for watching this. Check out the other videos on the channel, in particular, if you're into blues, the blues videos this week, Blues Week on the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you very soon. Practice well.